It's great to have you back on Love Truth Leadership for episode 7.5, Cultivating Growth, Harnessing a Learning Mindset. Picking up where we left off, today's chat is all about turning the concept of a growth mindset into practical everyday reality. I'm eager to share some of my own stories and the everyday strategies that have helped me embrace continual learning and change. So settle in and let's explore together how this mindset can positively shape both our personal and professional lives. LTL, everybody. We're going to continue talking about ways to implement a learning mindset and how it benefits personal growth. And I forgot to mention before, but all the subject that we talked about last time, all that stuff that I found in the Harvard Business Review, and were mostly implemented to work life. I was reading the article and it was just like, well, actually, this is 100% life. It's not just related to business and a culture at a work environment. This is 100% related to how you can handle life. That was where I got a lot of my subject material for the last episode was the Harvard Business Review.
That's a great publication, by the way. I reviewed that for years, and it's got some of the best articles I've ever read. It's a good read, but they do a lot of research.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's Harvard, right? Yeah.
You hope so, right?
Yeah, you would. Yeah, that's no joke.
Better live up to their reputation. But.
Yeah. So the benefits of personal growth and how to cultivate a growing mindset or a growth mindset. Personal growth is a process of becoming a better version of yourself through intentional exercises and intentional thoughts, or intentional learning and development. So you can, identify your strengths and weaknesses. You can set goals, take steps to improve your skills, knowledge, and improve your character or your personality. That's what personal growth is. And through personal growth, whenever you're going through that phase or wanting to acquire personal growth, you have to have a growth mindset. You got to get rid of your fixed beliefs of who you are as a person and learn to accept that you can change as a person. Personal growth starts out with increasing your self-awareness. You can, reflect on your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, really challenge who you are as a person. Identify where you want to improve in your life. The first step is being self-aware.
Self-aware.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's the first step to change and progress, and particularly a growth mindset, is being aware that there's more to it than where you're at.
Yeah, awareness is a big deal. If you're not aware of anything, and especially with how you're acting as a person, geez Louise, I can't even imagine not being aware. Or not holding awareness. And
I would ask the question of the people who are listening and say, awareness could be a product of, is there something in your life you just don't feel comfortable? Are you not getting certain results that you want? Yeah. Is there something that just doesn't feel right? And could there be something better?
Yeah.
Well, maybe there is. The question is, did you explore that? Is there something that needs to be changed in your thought process?
Exactly.
Is the self-talk part. What's my self-talk to myself during the day?
Yeah.
So if we want to talk about awareness, what is it? And we've talked about this before, is I think we're harder on ourselves than anybody else.
Oh, yeah.
We beat ourselves up so much. And so what does that self-talk do? And so maybe that's where journaling comes in. Maybe journaling the self-talk and maybe realigning yourself about really how you feel about yourself.
Asking questions about who you are as a person.
It's right.
Yeah.
And the more questions you ask may lead to better answers. Then you think, oh yeah, I've been thinking about this for a long time the way I remember a person one time, I read a quote when it says, if you really knew, we're so worried about what other people think, right?
Oh my God.
And then social media, we've talked about is how damaging that can be.
Yeah.
But someone said, if you actually knew how much people thought about you, you'd be surprised. You probably wouldn't worry a heck of a lot.
Yeah.
Because they're worried about all this other stuff going on.
They're worried about if you're thinking about them, they're not sitting here, thinking about you. They're worrying about if you're thinking about them or what they have going on in their life.
So this is a case. I went to a high school reunion, and it's about 30 years into this reunion. And there was a girl there, and she had been beating herself up for 30 years. There was an incident that she was caught with marijuana in a locker. Back then, that was pretty serious because marijuana was a felony. Mm. But because she was under 18, she wasn't charged with it.
Yeah.
So she thought she hadn't shown up for reunions for years because she thought that her classmates would think so
low of her. Yeah.
Finally, I said, do you realize that no one's ever thinking about this? I said, the odds of them thinking about this, even when they meet you, is slim to none. There's so many other factors in our life we're busy with. I said, I wouldn't worry about it. I never even thought about it until you brought it up. And I said, and I bet you everybody here has totally forgot that. And all of a sudden she had a paradigm shift. She goes, really? I said, yeah, it doesn't matter. Move on.
Yeah, for real.
I didn't say that to her, but I told her, I says, it's okay. You're a good person. Yeah. And I'll tell you, that totally changed. I wouldn't say totally. From that point on, she was so much more proactive. She helped with the next high school reunion, and she connected with everybody. But man, she'd been holding herself back for 30 years or whatever it was, beating herself up over one action that happened in high school that, frankly, I barely remember.
Right. Oh, geez. So let's talk about a few ways that having a growth mindset or a learning mindset can improve your life. The first one is going to be improve relationships. While aware of your own thoughts and feelings, you're better equipped to communicate effectively and have empathy towards other people.
Well, I think that creates an open mindset as a function, in part about humility, willing to accept, to make some changes. And I think pride many times is a major barrier for people to improving. But awareness is about being humble enough to say, I maybe I need some change here. I'm willing to accept it.
Yeah. And that kind of like opens your heart up a little bit, right?
Opens your heart up. And then you're thinking, maybe I can be. And that mindset, humility means you're more teachable.
Yeah.
There's this quote by Brand, I believe. He says, the teacher arrives when the student is ready.
Yeah. I mentioned that a few times. That's for sure. Yeah. You can give you increased confidence and self-esteem. So when you set goals and achieve them, you have a feeling of accomplishment. And then again, a little bit of pride in yourself. You start to develop new skills, acquire knowledge, which can increase your sense of competence and confidence in yourself. So I see that with me quite a bit, actually here recently, just on a personal level. I'm always trying new things and going, look, I'm actually okay at this. Like, okay, cool. Like doing the podcast. And like I said, the feeling of celebration I have whenever an episode is finished and edited and I load it up and I'm happy about it. And then I sit there and listen to it later on and I'm like, oh man, that sucks.
Hey, but it's a learning process, right?
Yeah, it is a learning process, right? Yeah, that's no joke.
Listen, Anthony Robbins says there's no such thing as failures, just outcomes to learn from.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So rather than beat ourselves up, say, hey, we can learn from this. And, right?
Yeah.
And get better.
Yeah,
and if we look at it that way, it's like, oh, that's a success.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. You can also develop improved creativity and innovation. That's another benefit of having a growth mindset. You start to look at life in a different way. You start to see where you might have different talents lie and stuff. You're open to trying and learning new things. that you thought that you were intimidated by before, but now you're, but something that maybe you always wanted to do, and you can help you develop more of an open mind and a flexible approach to life, which can enhance your ability to think creatively and, adapt to a lot of change. And so I see that again with myself as well, where I started approaching like, okay, what's wrong with me? Like, I've had countless failed relationships. How come either I keep picking the wrong person to be around, or B, I keep attracting the wrong person to me, right? And then I adapted this mindset, the growth or learning mindset, because I wanted to learn about my behaviors and the reason why this keeps happening to me, or the reason why I keep allowing it to happen to myself, basically. And then that got me into talking to Larry. And then I'm like, okay, cool. So I got this step going on. What else can I grow in? I'm like, oh, Larry, let's start a podcast. Let's create something together. And then that got me into learning even more, because we'll pick a subject for the podcast. And next thing you know, I'm spending half the week researching that subject.
I like Nick, because this has created a huge growth mindset for you.
Yeah, oh man.
And it's a passion that you feel good about, and you're studying it out, and you're incorporating it in your life, and you feel passionate. And in doing so, we're helping other people hopefully make changes in their life for the better.
And that's like the end result that I didn't think about at the time, was the effect that it might have on someone. But whenever I think about that, it actually gets me really excited. Like, I can actually make an impact on somebody else. Like, awesome. And another benefit to for looking for personal growth or wanting to cultivate a learning mindset is increased resilience. You begin to see your setbacks and failures that you had in your life as opportunities for learning and growth. It improves your ability to bounce back from challenges and setbacks a lot faster than you probably were previously able to do. And you can approach new challenges that you'll have in your life in a more positive and a proactive mindset. Like, okay, this set me back. Okay, that's cool. Let's keep going. Let's keep plugging away. I know that I can acquire the knowledge to overcome this. And what I just learned from this experience is something that I'm going to use to improve myself to where whenever I try it again, it's not going to set me back. Resilience is a big word. When we talk to Christy, her resilience is just amazing, right? But at the same time, she approached her resilience as having a learning mindset. And what can I learn about my cancer? And how can I teach it to other people? And that's huge. And I feel like embodying, wanting to teach and share gives you that growth mindset, the wanting for development, for personal growth, because you're
to do that. And what about Sam?
Oh man. Yeah. No joke. That guy is a personal growth, open mindset machine. Sam's just on a whole nother level of everything, though, I feel like a lot of the times, because his level of discipline with himself. And it's crazy because when we talk about every subject that we talk about on our episode, I find myself thinking about like how this is all encompassing, how everything that we're talking about involves everything else. And it really, to have a growth mindset, you need to have discipline, and to have discipline, you need to be open to learning new things about yourself. So you have to have that growth mindset. And then to want to find purpose and meaning in your life, you have to be willing to grow and find out who you are as a person and question who you are as a person, which is a big deal. So
the question I'd have to the listeners is, what commitment are they willing to do to go this direction?
Yeah.
And that's what we found in these people we've interviewed, is there was something in their life that was probably pretty challenging that they faced, but they had the grit to go forward. Do you see what I'm saying? To create that resilience. And had they not had that challenge, they probably may have not have made that internal commitment to be self-disciplined, to follow through with it.
Yeah. Okay, so from there, we're going to discuss a few tips on developing a growth mindset and how to experience the benefits of personal growth. So the first one would be to embrace challenges and failures instead of avoiding them. Embrace them as opportunities for learning, and see your failures as a natural part of the learning process and use it as a stepping stone to future success. So instead of, I can't do this, I attempted doing this one thing and it sucked, so let me just stop. I'm not good at this. Instead of going, okay, cool, well, that was a learning experience. You know, like our episode on trauma, right? Big learning experience because it sucked. and what can I do differently? How can I structure the episode, our podcast episodes better? And then how can I incorporate what I learned from that episode into doing better episodes? And okay, I've had failed relationship after failed relationship. What can I do differently? You know, how can I grow from those and learn what to do better? How can I maybe be a little bit more comfortable setting boundaries and being a person who doesn't allow myself to get walked on all for wanting someone close to me in my life. Maybe embrace a little bit of loneliness in that area, but at the same time, I'd rather be lonely than sad and heartbroken, right? So I would say that's where I embrace challenges and failures. How would you say you embrace challenges and failures, Larry?
I guess I try to go through a mental gymnastic. I ask questions about what I'm going through. Uh-huh. Sometimes I'll seek feedback from other people if I'm not sure.
Yeah.
And then I'll go back and do a reassessment of it. Like I mentioned before, I find journaling helps me figure things out a little better.
Yeah.
Between talking to someone else. So maybe I'll mentor with someone else, and then I want to make sure I want to find their point of view. Maybe it helps me see a different angle to it that I never saw before.
Yeah. Between
that and the journaling and meditating about it, I think, and I incorporate prayer too. That really helps me figure out things.
One thing I like that you just said is talking to someone else, and that immediately, whenever you said that, I saw myself as my whole life. I've always been willing to put my problems down on the table to other people to get their point of view and how they would handle things. And I think that's a big deal. And I feel like a lot of people don't really embrace that. You know, talk to everyone, you know, like say, hey, yo, listen, I'm feeling like this today. I'm going through this. And, you know, how would you do it? That's the question you got to ask. Or what should I do? You know, and if you like the advice they give you, take it. If you don't, it's just somebody's advice and you don't have to take it in. You can relate that to finding purpose and meaning. The reason why it relates to purpose and meaning is because if you're not around those people that you can be open up to, maybe challenge your identity and find a new group of people to be around. And then 2, having a growth mindset. It incorporates, I'm open with myself and I'm willing to learn from other people. What can I learn today about what I've gone through?
I think what you just mentioned about purpose and meaning, I think when people have a pretty good idea where they're headed in life, it's easier to make decisions about what to do and not to do.
Yeah.
They're more apt to set boundaries.
Yeah.
To say, hey, I'm willing to say no to this and I'm willing to say yes to that.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
And so when we're talking about a growth mindset, sometimes when we have challenges, you have to ask yourself, if I'm saying no to this, that means I'm saying yes to this. Or if I'm saying yes to this particular course, if I'm willing to go, what am I willing to say no to?
Yeah, what am I willing to do? Yeah.
Yeah. And I think once you have a course, it's easier to make decisions about what you're willing to do and not to do. Otherwise, you get fragmented.
Yeah. You get spread out all over the place.
Oh, yeah. And then you get frustrated, and that creates another set of problems.
Yeah.
You know?
Another way to develop a growth mindset and experience the benefits of personal growth is going to be focusing on the effort you put into the things and not just the end result. So the effort that you're putting in, and if you just focus on that, is like, okay, celebrate your progress and growth along the way, rather than going, okay, I didn't get this this thing that I wanted out of what I'm trying to learn or trying to do, what did I learn from the process of doing it?
Right.
And then if I attempt it again, I can do it better now.
Right.
Right. Recognize the hard work and dedication you put into things, and recognize that the real reward is not the end result, but what you learned and who you influenced along the way. And then what were you going to say, Larry? I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I liked what you do. Your passion for learning and growing is in the bike industry.
Yeah.
And you've had some small little failures. You've figured out, oh, this doesn't work on this bike, right?
Yeah.
A lot of times. And now you've practiced and practiced over again so much that it just comes second nature.
Yeah.
I was impressed the other day when a person came in and he asked something about his tire. And I was listening to you and you said, oh, you got to do this and this. Well, that just takes years of practice to figure that out. And the guy never occurred to him. And he was a pretty avid biker, actually a mountain biker.
Yeah.
And I thought he would have known. In fact, I think he races. This guy was racing, but he didn't know that little tidbit that you knew about. But that just takes a lot of time of practicing over and over.
Yeah. Yeah. 13 years, but still.
13 years, yeah.
Right. Yeah. And then, I mean, again, we get back to the growth mindset and where your innate talents lie, right? That's where my innate talent is.
Yeah.
And so that's the one area that you possibly can't change or can't acquire through a learning or a growth mindset. But you can get pretty close. And it just takes a lot of practice and time. The number one thing is that people ask me working in the bike shop is, how do you change a tire so fast? It's like, well, one, you know how many tires I change a year? I change thousands of tires a year. Thousands.
It's second nature.
It's second nature. Well, how can I learn to do that? Go home and practice. If you want to learn how to change your tire, go home and change that one tire by 6 tubes today, because you're going to ruin a few of them. Go home and do it over and over and over and over again, and until you're like, okay, cool, I know how to do this. It's almost
you're an expert in that.
Yeah. Yeah. This next subject, as far as finding personal growth and having an open mindset and the benefits of both, is my favorite. Surround yourself with positive and supportive people who encourage and motivate you. Seek out mentors, role models. Larry's favorite, an action or accountability partner. Be around people who embody the qualities and skills you wish to acquire and develop. And then find those people and make sure you learn from their experiences and insight. Find your mentor, find your Larry, I should say. And I wish if everybody in the world could have one thing, they could have a Larry in their life.
Thank you.
That's for sure, because you've really helped me change mine. Those 4 subjects are ways to develop a growth mindset and experience the benefits of having personal growth in your life are really big. I'm sure there are more out there. I did a lot of research on these, and it took a bunch of points from all over the internet to really put a bunch of these together. It's one of those things where that's why I like doing this so much, because as I'm constructing the episode, I'm reinforcing what I'm learning, and I'm reinforcing it through teaching it and speaking it to you guys, to you, the audience, through our podcast, helping me continue to be a better person and to continue to have that growth mindset through sharing my life experience. Who I am now is 100% the opposite of who I grew up as and who I was as a teenager, a young adult, all the way up until my mid-30s. I am 100% changed. It's just insane. And the reason why I've been able to do this change is because, and I didn't know it before, but I've always approached life with having a growth mindset. What can I learn from other people? That has affected me greatly. It's been huge.
It's possible to have a mindset to make a change.
Oh yeah, it really is. And to accept the fact that you can be better. And that's why on one hand, I really appreciate the fact that people tell you can be whatever you want to be. And just to be able to understand that and realize that there's not a whole lot that can hold you back from doing what you want to do. and incorporating a learning mindset and a growth mindset. Learn to have personal development in your life. Learn to be a better person. Stop being afraid to be judged by other people, your friend groups, that kind of stuff. Just quit the fear right now, because it's one of those things where if you want to grow and learn, you're going to have to understand that it's going to be altering to your life. And there's going to be things that you don't necessarily feel comfort in, but it's going to be something that's for the better of you as a person. Anything else you want to add, Larry?
Well, I had a thought about this relative to how can we incorporate this to maybe 3 key principles to create a more proactive growth learning mindset. And in order to do that, I like to make an analogy to a GPS. Everybody knows what a GPS, global positioning system, right?
Oh, yeah. Everybody's got it on their phone, right?
All right.
Yeah.
And we use it a lot. We want to get it from point A to point B.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So first off, I think is if we're going to have a growth mindset, we got to have a pretty good idea where we're going to be headed with a GPS.
Yeah.
So that comes with purpose and meaning.
Yeah.
Okay. What's meaningful to you? What do you feel passionate about in life? What is something that could create more meaning in your life? That gives you kind of a direction.
Yeah.
Now we need a vehicle to get from point A to point B. So what are some things to get from point A to point B? So I thought GPS is a good acronym. In this case, G stands for gratitude, cultivating gratitude.
Yeah.
P stands for paying it forward with that gratitude, and manifesting that gratitude by doing something for someone else, right?
Yeah.
And the S part would be scribing or journaling this journal.
Oh, man, Larry, that's awesome. Yeah, for real.
So that writes better questions. You're writing gratitude. So I'm saying if you want your GPS system to work on those 3 principles: cultivating gratitude, pay it forward, and scribing or writing down, journaling your journal, asking better questions of yourself, and writing stuff about what cultivates gratitude, things that you see that's positive in your life. And I think if people would just do that GPS system, I think that cultivates a better open mindset or growth mindset.
Yeah.
Now the plant that we've talked about is in the light.
Yeah.
That is the light. And
it's out of the closet.
It's out of the closet, and that's the light that you want on your life. So use the GPS system to cultivate that allows you to cultivate an open mindset that gets you to move forward in life.
That's very well said. That is really
Does that summarize it? So now there's a lot of stuff we talked about. So just think next time, what do I got to do? GPS. You mentioned GPS.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
How do I get my GPS on track?
Yeah. 100%.
Do those 3 things, and I think you'll see a significant improvement in their lives.
Yeah. So just along with Larry's GPS, embrace your challenges, cultivate curiosity and a love of learning. Focus on the effort that you put into life, not just your end result, and surround yourself with positive and supportive people. Find that accountability partner, the action partner. Yeah, from there, I think that's the end of it. That is a growth mindset and for personal growth, and 100% where it's at. So I'm Nick.
I'm Larry.
This is the LTL Show. Thank you for listening, everyone. And as Larry likes to say, have a grateful day.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us today on Love Truth Leadership, where we explored cultivating growth, harnessing a learning mindset. I hope the insights and strategies shared inspired you to integrate a learning mindset into every aspect of your life. But our conversation doesn't end here. In our next episode, we'll delve into the theme of change, how to understand, embrace, and achieve it in your life. And there's something special on the horizon. Larry and I are excited to introduce a brand new feature to our platform, the Roundtable. We're keeping the details under wraps for now, but it's an addition we're sure you'll love. So stay tuned for the Roundtable and more insightful discussions on love, truth, leadership. Thank you for being part of our journey. Until next time, remember that leadership is not just a title, but the profound expression of the love and truth we bring into the world. Keep growing, keep learning, and lead with love and truth.